401 Strange Power. After that conversation, Feng Xian's troubled heart immediately calmed down. As long as she had her teacher by her side, she would be content. Silly girl, don't cry. As long as I'm here, I will never allow anyone to force you to do anything. You can live your life as you please. I will stand behind you and support you, Yi Zan said with a gentle expression. At the same time, a cold light flashed in the depths of Yi Zan's eyes. He had heard of the Skywave Mansion of the Yangli Divine Empire, which was the organization tasked with pursuing Feng Xian. It was an extremely powerful organization whose purpose was to help the Divine Empire deal with matters covertly. In the East continent of the mystic world, it was a powerful deterring force. However, from Yi Zan's perspective, it was not worth his time. Ignoring the fact that the Skywave Mansion could not afford to offend the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Yi Zan alone was not someone the Skywave Mansion could afford to offend. After all, Yi Zan was now an early-stage Mystic Lord Realm expert. In addition, he had the Dao Fruits, the Cloud Heaven Sword, and the Flora Sword technique. Cultivators below the Mystic Lord Realm were simply no match for him. When Feng Xian heard this, she was even more touched and said with some affection, "Teacher, can I hug you for a while?" After saying this, Feng Xian felt a little embarrassed. She was the princess of the Divine Empire, how could she be so unreserved? However, at this moment, she really wanted to hug her teacher, who was the source of her newfound security. Hearing this, Yi Zan's mouth twitched. What kind of ridiculous request was this? This was very unbecoming of their relationship. However, he decided to go with the flow. Ahem, just a quick one, Yi Zan said as he pretended to be calm. Hearing this, Feng Xian's eyes flashed with joy as she snuggled into his arms. What a warm embrace. I really want to stay in teacher's arms forever. In the meantime, Yi Zan was doing his best to stifle his involuntary physical reactions. When Yi Zan was on the Tianyuan continent, he had taken in a few disciples and had even hugged a few of them. However, Yu, Qingyan, and Zhao Yuyan were still very young, so he had not been overly conscious about the matter. Feng Xian was a peerless beauty. Still, he was her teacher, and he somehow managed to keep a straight face. Several days later, in a desert within the East continent, bones and flesh were scattered everywhere, and the smell of blood filled the surroundings. Under the rocky ground, a fire lizard slowly poked its head out, wanting to breathe in some fresh air. At this moment, dazzling sword chi descended from the sky and cut off the head of the fire lizard. The fire lizard died with its eyes wide open. The sword strike was too sudden, and it had no time to react. It was not until the moment the head fell that the fire lizard saw its murderer clearly. It was a beautiful woman in a sky blue long dress wielding a longsword. Ta ta ta. The sound of shoes stepping on the gravel lightly rang out. After a few moments, 3 figures suddenly appeared in front of the fire lizard. Teacher, it's exactly as you guessed. This fire lizard also has a strange power, Feng Xian said to Taizan after briefly examining the fire lizard's corpse. After that night, Feng Xian seemed to have changed into a completely different person. Her previous worries were all gone. Now that she had a teacher who doted on her, and a cold yet gentle senior sister by her side, she was content and happy. Just then, Zhu Yuyu, who was hovering in the air, slowly descended and stood quietly in front of Yi Zan. She did not say anything. After this period of training, Zhu Yuyu's cultivation had already reached the first level of the materialization realm. Even Yi Zan was surprised by Zhu Yuyu's speed of breaking through. Fortunately, he had a cheat-like system. Otherwise, this girl would catch up to him in no time at all. That's right. From the looks of it, the Berserk Beast's attacks should be related to this strange power. The strange power is an ominous sign. Who is behind this? Yi Zan nodded, his expression solemn. During this period of time, he had been traveling with them to investigate the truth behind the Berserk Beast's attacks. After he had personally killed several beasts, he discovered that there was a strange dark aura residing in their bodies. But why would someone incite these beasts to attack? There has to be a larger scheme behind it all. Yi Zan touched his chin and pondered the matter for a long time, but he could not think of anything. Even he did not know where the strange power in the beast's body came from. From the looks of it, it would not be easy to investigate the truth of this matter. At the very least, it would take much longer than he expected. Furthermore, there were only 30 days left until the 7 Peaks competition. That being said, Zhu Yueyu's progress had satisfied him. Not only had she successfully broken through to the first level of the materialization realm, but her Cloud Sky Sword technique had reached the minor mastery stage, and she had obtained precious combat experience. He was confident that she would be able to deal with Gao Tianyu during the competition. Her strength would shock the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. As for Feng Xian, because she had just stepped onto the path of cultivation, it would be quite difficult for her to obtain a good ranking during the Seven Peaks competition. However, during this period of time, Feng Xian had continued to refine the power within the precious bone, and her cultivation level had been progressing well. Within just a few days, Feng Xian had already broken through to the third level of the divine mystic realm. It was about time to teach this girl some divine powers. Teacher, what should we do now? Zhu Guiyu's expression was a little sullen. From the looks of it, there was no hope of finding the culprit behind the berserk beast's attacks anytime soon. However, Zhu Guiyu knew that her teacher had done his best. 402 additional reward function. At this moment, night was slowly approaching. Yi Zan thought for a moment and said, "It's getting late, so we'll set up camp here. I'll come up with a new training plan for you tomorrow. Xian, today I will teach you the Heaven Burning Flame technique. It's a black rank technique, and it was created by the first chief of Cloud Sky Peak. It just so happens that you have the power of fire in your body, so this technique is suitable for you." "Yes, teacher." Hearing this, Feng Xian's face was all smiles. She could finally learn a divine power. Over the past few days, Feng Xian had been watching Zhu Guiyu kill the beasts with her longsword in envy. However, because Feng Xian had broken through too quickly, Yi Zan had prioritized the stabilization of her cultivation foundation, and had held back on teaching her a divine power until now. "Girl, come and sit down." Zhu Guiyu and Exener walked away quietly, not bothering the two of them. Within a short while, Yi Zan had passed on the heaven-burning flame technique to Feng Xian. Even though Feng Xian did not have eidetic memory like Zhu Guiyu, her comprehension ability was still extremely high. Ding. As the host has taught his disciple a black-rank divine power, the heaven-burning flame technique, the host has received a randomized 100x critical reward. Congratulations. The host has obtained the heaven-rank divine power, Hellfire. Heaven-rank divine power, Hellfire. Yi Zan's eyes lit up. After the system notification ended, his mind was filled with insights about the technique. However, Yi Zan was a little disappointed. Although the divine power was extremely powerful, it was still inferior to the Flora Sword technique. Moreover, he did not have fire attribute power in his body. Even if he comprehended it with the help of the system, its power would not be satisfactory. However, if he were to impart the Hellfire technique to Feng Xian, its power would be extraordinary. After all, Feng Xian had a fire attribute divine bone, and a high grade one at that, which would allow her to unleash its full power. That being said, if he taught it to her now, he would miss out on the system's reward. Yi Zan pondered the matter for a moment, before turning to Feng Xian. "Little girl, I've just remembered that there's a more powerful divine power that might be suitable for you. I'll teach it to you now." Feng Xian was momentarily stunned. "I wonder what divine power teacher is going to teach me." In her opinion, the heaven-burning flame technique that Yi Zan taught her was already extremely powerful. How powerful would a stronger divine power be? Yi Zan smiled. "I'm going to teach you the Hellfire technique." Hellfire. Feng Xian was shocked. She had heard about this divine power before. A general of the Yangli Divine Empire had once mentioned that the power of the Hellfire technique was extremely terrifying, and that it was at least a heaven-rank divine power. Was she actually going to learn this legendary divine power? "Many thanks, teacher." Feng Xian almost jumped up in excitement. Seeing this, Yi Zan couldn't help but smile. "Don't get too excited, little girl. The Hellfire technique is powerful, but it's also very difficult to cultivate. However, if you can master this divine power, you will be able to unleash its incredible power. Don't worry, teacher. I'll definitely train hard in the future." Yi Zan nodded. Then, he stretched out his hand and gently touched Feng Xian's forehead. The knowledge regarding the Hellfire technique instantly entered Feng Xian's mind. It gradually condensed into a rune that was filled with the power of fire. Seeing this, Feng Xian's face was filled with excitement. The divine power that her teacher had imparted to her was truly a heaven rank one. However, it was far too profound, and was not easy to master. That being said, the heaven-burning flame technique would become a foundational technique. Once she successfully cultivated it, it would become easier for her to cultivate the Hellfire technique in the future. She would also be aided by her fire attribute Divine Bone. Immediately after, Feng Xian closed her eyes and slowly comprehended the profundity of the Hellfire technique. Moments later, her eyes suddenly opened, revealing resplendent flames in the depths of her eyes, while layers of flames covered her body. She seemed to look somewhat like a phoenix. When Zhu Yuyu and Exener saw this, they were shocked. I didn't think that junior sister would be able to release such a powerful aura despite only cultivating this for the first time. Even though she was a materialization realm cultivator, Zhu Yuyu could sense a trace of danger from the flames. Zhu Yuyu's eyes briefly flashed with disappointment. She was Yi Zan's first disciple, and it had taken her 2 months to break through to the materialization realm, yet her junior sister was rapidly catching up within the span of a few days, and would soon have the strength to match hers. Yi Zan naturally noticed the disappointment in Zhu Yuyu's eyes. Being a teacher was truly difficult. He had to be fair in imparting divine powers, but unfortunately, he did not have an ice attribute divine power to give her. What should he do? However, at this moment, a system notification suddenly rang out in Yi Zan's mind. Ding! As this is the first time that the host has taught his disciple a heaven-rank divine power, the system's reward function has been triggered. Note: this reward is limited to a divine power of the same rank. What? Seeing this, Yi Zan was stunned. There was a different kind of reward function aside from the usual critical rewards. Was this an additional hidden function after the system upgrade? However, from the system's explanation, it seemed that the reward for this function was limited to the same rank, and the probability of triggering it was not fixed. It was completely random. Still, it was an unexpected surprise. 403 Lin Dong. Ding! Congratulations! The host has obtained the heaven-rank divine power, the 9 Serenities of Frost technique. Yi Zan's mouth twitched when he saw this. He was seriously suspecting that the system had already arranged this beforehand. It seemed like it knew that he was lacking an ice-type divine power, and had decided to give him one out of the blue. Still, this was not a bad thing. Yuyu, come over here. Since he had it, he would teach it to Yuyu. After seeing her disappointed expression earlier, he had been thinking of teaching her the Flora Sword technique. However, the Flora Sword technique was a divine rank technique, and it was not something that ordinary cultivators could cultivate. Were it not for the power of the Golden Lotus of Great Tao, even Yi Zan would not have been able to successfully cultivate it. Normal divine powers were divided into heaven, earth, black, and yellow ranks. The power of a heaven-rank divine power was already extremely powerful. If she could successfully cultivate it, Zhu Yuyu's strength would definitely increase by a large extent. Teacher, why did you call me over? Zhu Yuyu walked over cautiously. Although she had a smile on her face, she could not hide the disappointment in her heart. Seeing this, Yi Zan's gaze suddenly softened. Girl, have a seat. You've already cultivated the Cloud Sky Sword technique to the minor mastery stage. After some careful consideration, I think it's time to teach you another divine power. Zhu Yuyu's eyes brightened when she heard this. The disappointment in her gaze disappeared. It turned out that her teacher had always kept her in mind. Thank you, teacher. I'll definitely cultivate diligently. The smile on Zhu Yuyu's face brightened, and her eyes were filled with excitement. Seeing this, Yi Zan could not help but smile. This girl was quite easy to satisfy. In fact, compared to Feng Xian, Yi Zan doted on Zhu Yuyu more. Although Feng Xian had been reduced to a marriage tool of the royal family, at least she still had a home to return to. Zhu Yuyu's parents had died tragic deaths at the hands of the berserk beasts. Now, he was the last person this girl could rely on. If he abandoned or ignored her, perhaps she would end up depressed and disheartened. What I'm going to teach you is the 9 Serenities of Frost technique, a heaven-rank divine power. Heaven-rank divine powers are extremely profound. You must cultivate diligently in order to comprehend them. Of course, if you encounter any problems, you can come and ask me at any time. Remember, when you cultivate, don't rush things. Take it step by step, Yi Zan patiently instructed. Don't worry, teacher, I won't let you down. Yi Zan smiled and nodded. He reached out and touched Zhu Yuyu's forehead. As a stream of light flashed, and all the information about the 9 Serenities of Frost suddenly appeared in Zhu Yuyu's mind. When that happened, the profound ice divine bone in Zhu Yuyu's body trembled slightly, as if it had been stimulated by some kind of power, and it started to release waves of power. When Zhu Yuyu sensed this, she was overjoyed. It seemed like this divine power was compatible with her divine bone. She immediately sat down cross-legged and began to comprehend the mysteries of the 9 serenities of frost in detail. After an unknown period of time, the surrounding temperature started falling, as her body exuded an icy cold aura. After some time, she gained a basic grasp of the divine power and began integrating it into the cloud sky sword technique. Her sharp sword chi now seemed to shine with an exceedingly cold edge. Seeing that his 2 disciples were working hard on their cultivation, Yizan did not disturb them. Instead, he quietly stood guard beside them. Of the 2 disciples he had taken in, one cultivated scorching fire, while the other cultivated freezing ice. Their attributes were completely different. However, to Yizan's disappointment, teaching the 9 serenities of frost technique to Zhu Guoyu did not trigger a system's reward. Of course, he was not too bothered by this. Time flew by, and the night quickly passed. The next morning, within the bustling streets of Qingyang City, 3 beautiful figures appeared. Senior sister and Exener, come over and take a look at this hairpin. Do you think it will look good on me? Feng Xian was somewhat excited as she picked out jewelry on the streets. Of course I think it will look good on you, Zhu Guoyu said with a smile. After that, Zhu Guoyu, Feng Xian, and Exener strolled the streets for half a day. If they came across anything interesting, they would buy it without any hesitation. Feng Xian had grown up in the royal palace, and as such was very curious about these rare and unusual things. Just as Feng Xian was chatting with Zhu Guoyu, an elegant-sounding voice rang out. I feel that this jade pendant is the most suitable for this fairy. When Zhu Guoyu, Feng Xian, and Exener heard this, they looked in the direction of the voice. A young man had suddenly appeared behind them. His appearance was quite handsome, and his words were gentle and elegant. However, Zhu Guoyu frowned. Others might not be able to tell, but Zhu Guoyu could clearly sense that the man's eyes were slightly intrusive. He seemed to be sizing her up from the corner of his eyes. He was definitely up to no good. Compared to Zhu Guoyu's aloof attitude, Feng Xian was undoubtedly much more straightforward, as she said indifferently, your words are reasonable, but unfortunately I don't like jade pendants. Lin Dong chuckled without revealing the slightest bit of anger. However, when he inadvertently saw Zhu Guoyu beside Feng Xian, his eyes involuntarily lit up. He did not expect that he would meet 2 goddesses while idling around today. If he could get these 2 women into bed, would not that be great? Not only was Lin Dong the eldest young master of the Lin family in Qingyang City, he was also a disciple of Sun Mobai of the Immortal Divine Sect. It could be said that Lin Dong was born superior to others. Whether it was in Qingyang City or the Immortal Divine Sect, there was nothing he could not get his hands on if he wanted it. No matter how beautiful a woman was, she could not escape from his grasp. 404 Sudden change in behavior. I am Lin Dong from the Lin family of Qingyang City, and the disciple of Sun Mobai from the Immortal Divine Sect. May I know how I should address you 2 fairies? Which sect do you come from? Today's weather is quite nice. I wonder if I can have the honor to invite you 2 fairies for a drink. Lin Dong spoke with a smile on his face, while his eyes were filled with confidence. Normally, every time he revealed his identity, most female cultivators would be awed into following him. However, things were destined to be different today. Upon hearing his words, Zhu Guoyu's eyes turned even colder. She completely ignored Lin Dong. Feng Xian only smiled faintly and playfully. Young Master Lin, this is our first time meeting, so there really is no reason for us to accompany you. Furthermore, our teacher has specially instructed us not to mingle around with random suspicious people. Young Master, if there's nothing else, we'll take our leave now. Oh, one more thing. The name of the Immortal Divine Sect might have worked on others, but it really means nothing to us. Lin Dong's expression instantly turned cold after she spoke. He did not expect Zhu Guoyu and Feng Xian to disregard and disrespect him like this. In all of Qingyang City, no cultivator would dare to speak to him in such a manner. Immediately, Lin Dong's eyes turned cold as he spoke to the guard beside him. Investigate the background of these 2 women. I want to know their identities and backgrounds. HMPH. I've never failed to get the women I want, and that's not about to change. Zhu Guoyu, Feng Xian, and Exener then found seats on the top floor of a restaurant. Senior sister, that person just now said that he came from the Immortal Divine Sect and that he was Sun Mobai's disciple. Does senior sister know him? Feng Xian asked curiously. Sun Mobai. Hearing this, Zhu Guoyu frowned. She pondered for a moment, then said slowly, I've met him with teacher before. He's just a wretched old man. When we surrounded the ape beast back then, Sun Mobai was present, as was Chief Yuelin from our sect. There were also many Heaven Realm experts present who were eyeing the ape beast's precious bone. However, in the end, Teacher was the one who obtained it, shocking everyone. At that time, Sun Mobai wanted to get close to him to forge a friendly relationship. However, Teacher didn't give him any face at all. I still remember that old man's shocked expression to this day. When Feng Xian heard this, she chuckled. She had also heard of that incident where the various experts had surrounded and attacked the ape beast, but she was unclear about the details of the incident. It was a pity that she was not there at the time and could not witness her teacher's prowess. At this moment, in the Su family's residence in Qingyang City. Father, mother, please have some tea. You must be tired today. Your son will wash your feet for you. Su Tiansheng looked at Su Chenghei's filial expression with a dumbfounded look. FCK, was this thing in front of him really his own son? How had he changed so drastically after leaving home to explore the world for a month? Why was he now acting so filial? Son, did you get into trouble outside? Suddenly, Su Tiansheng seemed to have thought of something, and his tone suddenly became serious. As the saying goes, there must be something wrong when things are abnormal. From Su Tiansheng's perspective, Su Cheng must have caused a lot of trouble outside. This expression of filial piety was probably his way of asking for help. However, Su Tiansheng was also helpless. No matter what, Su Cheng was his own son. He had to clean up his mess if there was trouble. Su Cheng stood up when he saw his father doubting him. Dad, what do you mean by this? I'm your biological son. I might have been a little insensible in the past, but now that I have grown up, I naturally have to be filial to you. Your son has gone through many hardships to return to Qingyang City, and I just want to wash your feet. How could you think of me like that? Looking at Su Chenghei's sad face, Su Tiansheng's mouth twitched. Did I really blame this kid wrongly? In just a month, he had really become so filial. Su Chenghei's mother, Zhang Lihong, patted Su Tiansheng's back in annoyance when she saw this. What's wrong with you? Isn't it a good thing for Cheng to become filial? Don't tell me you still want him to stir up trouble like before. Su Tiansheng felt somewhat wronged. Based on Su Chenghei's previous behavior, it was only natural to suspect his motives after a sudden change like this. See, father always misunderstands me, Su Cheng grinned when he heard that. Then, he squatted down very considerately. In this family, it's still mother who loves and understands me the most. Why is there a need to doubt my sincerity? Mother, I'll wash your feet now. Zhang Lihong was also surprised by Su Chenghei's behavior, but felt that it was a good thing. My good son, my love for you all these years has not been in vain. Mother, as long as you like it, I'll wash your feet every day, Su Cheng said with an apologetic smile. Silly child, the sons of our Su family are all indomitable and will become the overlords of the mystic world. How can you spend your time washing my feet every day? Just knowing that you are willing is enough to satisfy me. My precious son has finally grown up. Zhang Lihong's eyes were filled with love for Su Cheng. Looking at Su Cheng washing her feet seriously, Su Tiansheng rubbed his chin and nodded with relief. It seemed that this kid had indeed changed. He was much more sensible than before. 405 visiting bearing gifts. However, Su Tiansheng and Zhang Lihong had no idea that Su Chenghei's filial piety was entirely due to one person. Dad, come over quickly. I'll wash your feet for you as well. You've been working hard for the Su family all of your life. It's time for you to take some time and relax. All right, hearing this, Su Tiansheng nodded in satisfaction. This really was a welcome change. You've finally grown up, kid. I didn't dote on you for nothing all these years. Immediately after Su Tiansheng took off his shoes, a smell that could even make a pig faint immediately assaulted Su Chenghei's nose, which almost made him vomit. He was full of grievance. Damn it, Yi Zan, this is all your fault. However, Su Cheng could only curse in his heart. On the surface, he washed his father's feet expressionlessly. He had no choice, this was all he could do. Su Cheng said to Su Tiansheng and Zhang Lihong after he cleaned up the wash basin, Father, mother, rest well. Your son will go and cultivate now. That's great. Go on ahead. It was rare to see his son take the initiative to cultivate, so Su Tiansheng's heart could be said to be brimming with joy. He did not know what this kid had experienced over the past month to change his personality and behavior like this. He had grown from a lazy and good-for-nothing rich kid to a mature man. After Su Cheng left, Su Tianxiang immediately called over the two guardians he had tasked with protecting his son, Elder Lin and Elder Chen. Su Tianxiang and Zhang Lihong were not angry at all when they heard about Su Cheng and Yi Zan. Instead, they smiled. I didn't expect that this kind of thing would happen to this kid. Darling, it seems that we have to thank Yi Zan. The cunning Su Tianxiang naturally knew that the Yi Zan coming over to check if Su Cheng was filial was just a joke. Yi Zan was the chief of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect's Cloud Sky Peak, and a powerful Heaven Realm expert. How could he have the time to check on a hedonistic son of the Su family? The reason Yi Zan did this was to give Su Cheng a chance to turn over a new leaf. The effect was obvious. Su Cheng was indeed frightened and was trying to maintain his filial image. One must know that before he met Yi Zan, this kid was a hedonistic young master who was not afraid of anything and only knew how to cause trouble for his family. Unexpectedly, after coming back this time, not only did his arrogant demeanor completely vanish, but he also became filial and obedient. At the thought of this, Su Tianxiang's heart was filled with gratitude toward Yi Zan. A simple sentence had changed his son's life and saved the Su family. After all, Su Cheng had been too arrogant in the past. However, since Su Tianxiang was still in charge of the Su family, there was no big problem. However, what would happen after he passed away? Who would be in charge of the Su family? Previously, Su Tianxiang had been vexed about how to train his son to become the rightful heir of the family. Now, Yi Zan had easily solved his biggest problem with just one sentence. Zhang Lihong even suggested with a smile, "Old Su, isn't the Seven Peaks competition of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect next month? I think it's necessary for our Su family to prepare some gifts for a visit. We must thank Chief Yi Zan." Su Tianxiang nodded with a smile. Your words are reasonable. Chief Yi Zan has given our Su family a new lease on life. We must thank him properly. Moreover, the Great Wilderness Divine Sect is an extremely powerful holy land in our Yangli Divine Empire. Yi Zan is the chief of Cloud Sky Peak. Perhaps we can take this opportunity to make friends with him. In Qingyang City, the top families more or less have the support of the powerful sects. The Lin family has the Immortal Divine Sect, and the Xia family has the Tianxia Academy. Only our Su family hasn't found a reliable ally yet. The Great Wilderness Divine Sect is an excellent choice. As the head of the Su family, Su Tianxiang was able to sniff out an opportunity when one presented itself. Immediately, Su Tianxiang's gaze fell on Elder Lin. Elder Lin, quickly prepare some precious gifts and send them to Cloud Sky Peak. Perhaps to Chief Yi Zan, our gifts may not be eye-catching, but they should be of some use to the disciples of Cloud Sky Peak. As you wish, Master. I'll deal with it now. Elder Lin nodded, then turned and left. Elder Lin agreed with Su Tianxiang's decision. After all, he had personally seen and experienced Yi Zan's strength. It was undoubtedly the best to be on good terms with someone as powerful and full of potential as Yi Zan. After that, Su Tianxiang and Zhang Lihong looked at each other and saw the smile on each other's face. Then, they went to Su Chenghei's room together. Through the window of the room, Su Tianxiang and Su Cheng could clearly see that Su Cheng was cultivating seriously inside. He was no longer as lazy as before. Perhaps due to this incident, this kid was not only frightened by Yi Zan, but he was also shocked by the other powerful experts, which was driving him to become stronger. Darling, it seems that our little brat has really changed. Su Tianxiang's face was full of smiles. Zhang Lihong nodded in agreement, but she was also a little worried. Su Chenghei's abrupt desire to cultivate and become stronger would not cause any psychological problems, would it? Zhang Lihong quickly said, Old Su, our precious son has been cooped up in his room cultivating ever since he returned to the family. It's not a good thing for him to continue doing this in the long run. How can his body take it? Su Tianxiang thought about it carefully and agreed with Zhang Lihong's words. Cultivation can't be rushed. It must be done step by step. A balance of work and rest is the most beneficial to the state of mind of a cultivator. 406 I should have checked the zodiac signs. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Tianxiang pushed open the door and walked in. Su Cheng sensed the movement and halted his cultivation. Father, mother, why have you come? Su Cheng quickly stood up and went over to welcome them. In fact, the reason why he was so filial just now was not entirely because of Yi Zan. After the incident with Yi Zan, he had also thought about it carefully. He had indeed caused a lot of trouble for the family over the years. It had always been his father cleaning up his mess, and his mother had always doted on him. Su Cheng felt touched when he recalled this. It could be said that his act of filial piety just now came from the bottom of his heart. Son, although cultivation is important, you must strike a balance between work and rest. Otherwise, it will affect your cultivation foundation, and that would be bad. Instead of staying in your room all day to cultivate, you should take some time to go out and see the world. This will also temper your will and heart, Su Tiansheng said with a smile. Su Chenghei's eyes widened in shock. In the past, every time he said he wanted to go out and play, his father would look at him like he wanted to beat him to death. Now, his father had taken the initiative to ask him to go out and explore. It seemed that his actions had caused his father's opinion of him to change. Su Chenghei's heart warmed at the thought of this and he smiled. Father, don't worry, I know what to do. I'll ask Elder Chen to stay by your side so you can go out and relax when you want to. Su Cheng did not refuse. After all, ever since he returned to the Su family, he had been cultivating in his room and had not gone out for a long time. Furthermore, before today, Yi Zan had always been a shadow in his heart. He had been so scared that he did not even dare to go out the door. With Su Tiansheng's assurance, Su Cheng felt that he had finally gained a new lease on life. Some time later, Su Cheng walked out of the house in a fine suit with a fan in his hand. He had a gentle and elegant appearance. As for Elder Chen, he was Su Chenghei's guard and was responsible for his safety. Su Cheng was no longer as arrogant and domineering as he used to be when he was playing on the streets of Qingyang City. He had become low-key. Qingyang Restaurant. Suddenly, Su Chenghei's gaze fell on the signboard of a restaurant not far away, and he stopped in his tracks. Qingyang Restaurant was an extremely famous restaurant in Qingyang City. It was said that the owner of this restaurant was a Heaven Realm expert. This was why it had been able to ward off those with ill intentions and become one of the top restaurants in the city. As a result, almost all the major families in Qingyang City patronized Qingyang Restaurant. In the past, this was also a place that Su Cheng liked to come to, especially for the osmanthus wine it served, which had been brewed for decades. Young master, why don't we go in and have a seat? Elder Chen suggested when he saw Su Chenghei's gaze. As the Su family's guardian for many years, Elder Chen had been by Su Chenghei's side for many years. Naturally, he understood his personality and habits. Su Chenghei's personality was also very simple and crude. He only knew how to eat, drink, womanize, and gamble. He did not dare to touch women now, but he could still have a sip of wine. Okay, let's go in and have a drink, Su Cheng thought for a while and said. He did not think his luck was so bad that he would meet Yi Zan there. As soon as Su Cheng entered Qingyang Restaurant, the waiter inside greeted him with a smile. Waiter, get me a private room on the top floor. No problem. Young Master Su, please come this way. As the waiter escorted him, Su Cheng made his way to the top floor with a smile on his face. Young Master Su, it's been a long time since you've been to Qingyang Restaurant. Your usual private room has been reserved by other guests, the waiter explained in embarrassment. Su Cheng raised his eyebrows and said in dissatisfaction, just who is so bold to dare to snatch this young master's reservation? Su Cheng walked to his private room angrily and pulled open the curtains. When he saw the three beautiful women in the private room, the corners of his mouth twitched and he almost fell down. The waiter was about to explain, but Su Cheng turned around without hesitation and rushed downstairs. Seeing this, Elder Chen was a little confused. Young master, is there something wrong with the private room? Hurry up and run. That fiend is inside. Su Chenghei's face was pale and he felt a lingering fear. Elder Chen's expression changed when he heard this. He knew who Su Cheng was talking about. The two of them immediately rushed out of the door. At this moment, a cold and mocking voice suddenly rang out from a private room on the top floor. Isn't this the famous young Master Su of Qingyang City? Why are you running away as soon as you've arrived? Su Chenghei's entire body stiffened when he heard the voice. I'm done for. Who can save me? Damn it. Why did I decide to come out for a walk today? I should have checked the zodiac signs before leaving the house. Why did he end up meeting this fiend again? Su Chenghei's tears almost rolled down his face. The owner of the voice was Zhu Yuyu. Hearing Zhu Yuyu's words, Su Cheng did not know whether to leave or to stay. However, at this moment, he had no other choice. He could only turn around with a smile and look in Zhu Yuyu's direction. Ah, I didn't expect to meet you here, fairy. It's really fate. Hearing this, Zhu Yuyu revealed a playful smile. Young Master Su seems to be in a hurry. Where are you going? Could it be that you're deliberately avoiding me? How is that possible? I'm sure you've misunderstood. I just remembered that I have some important things to deal with at home, so I'm in a hurry to return, Su Cheng said guiltily as cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Zhu Yuyu was here, but he wondered if Yizan was beside her. If that guy was here, then he was doomed. No, I don't want to die. I'm still in my prime and I haven't continued the Su family lineage yet. At that moment, Su Cheng suddenly noticed a beautiful woman in a sky blue robe walking out of the private room. Senior sister, who is this person? Feng Xian asked curiously. Although Su Chenghe's intrusion had been very brief, it was still detected by them. Feng Xian had thought that Lin Dong had come to cause trouble for them. At the mention of Su Cheng, Zhu Yuyu almost could not hold back her laughter. Then, she told Feng Xian about everything that had happened. After learning about the course of events, Feng Xian could not help but smile. She had never expected his teacher to have such a playful personality. This young master's heart was probably tormented by the shadow of her teacher, which was why he wanted to escape the moment he saw their figures. 407 Young Master Su, someone is scolding you. Zhu Yuyu looked at Su Cheng, who had a guilty look on his face. She felt like laughing and teasing him. Since young Master Su is not hiding from us, why not come up and have a seat? I'm just a mortal, so how can I sit with you fairies? Besides, this isn't very appropriate. Su Cheng looked around guiltily, trying to see if Yizan was nearby. However, no matter what the result was, he would never dare to have any ideas about Zhu Yuyu. At this moment, Elder Chen suggested, Young Master, I think we can agree to her suggestion. After all, she is Chief Yizan's disciple. If we can become friends with her, we might be able to ease our relationship with Chief Yizan. That makes sense. Su Cheng thought about it carefully and agreed with Elder Chen. Cough, cough. However, since you're willing to share a seat with me, I won't be unreasonable. Su Cheng calmed down, and his face regained its gentle and elegant smile. However, he did not know that on the other side of the top floor, there were a few sneaky cultivators watching them. One of them, a burly man, said in a deep voice, Hurry up and report this to the young master. These beauties are related to Su Cheng. After entering the private room, Su Cheng bowed very politely like a scholar. I'm Su Cheng. Greetings. Seeing this, Feng Xian could not help but cover her mouth and laugh. This guy knew his etiquette, but his movements were a little stiff. It was obvious that he did not practice very often. I didn't expect young Master Su to be so well-mannered. Su Cheng felt happy when he heard this, but did not show it on his face. You flatter me. I'm just a mortal. How can I be compared to you fairy maidens? I wonder how I should address the two fairies beside me. Su Chenghe's gaze fell on Feng Xian and Exener as he asked curiously. He knew Zhu Yuyu, as she was Yizan's disciple. However, he had no impression of Feng Xian and Exener. She's my junior sister, Feng Xian, Zhu Yuyu said. I didn't expect Fairy to be Chief Yizan's disciple as well. It's truly a pleasure. Once Su Cheng discovered Feng Xian's identity, he immediately squeezed out a smile. However, he was more envious in his heart. He had not expected Yizan to take in yet another beautiful disciple. When did he have no such luck with the ladies? By the way, why did I only see you three fairies here? Is Chief Yizan around? Su Cheng asked nervously. Zhu Yuyu stifled a laugh as she spoke. Don't worry, teacher isn't here. That's such a pity. Su Cheng heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. Oh my god, I was almost scared to death. Fortunately, that fiend was not here. The confidence on Su Chenghe's face returned immediately. He spoke with fervor and elegance. At this moment, in another private room on the top floor of the restaurant, Lin Dong's expression was depressed as he drank alone. The figures of Zhu Yuyu and Feng Xian kept appearing in his mind. At this moment, a subordinate ran in and reported in a hurry. Young master, we've obtained some information. They seem to know the Su family's eldest young master. Su Cheng is currently in the private room with those women. What? When Lin Dong heard this, he immediately flew into a rage. Su Cheng, that trash, is not worthy. Lin Dong's eyes were filled with rage. He had always looked down on Su Cheng, that good-for-nothing who only knew how to eat, drink, wine, and gamble. If Su Chenghe's father had not been a Heaven Realm expert, he would have beaten Su Cheng up a long time ago. He did not expect that Feng Xian and the others would reject his outstanding self and turn around to get together with that trash, Su Cheng. Lin Dong could no longer endure it. Bah, they're just a bunch of BT chess. I thought they were people of noble status, but they dared to refuse me to mingle with that trash. HMPH. Follow me. No matter what, I have to vent my anger today. I will let them know who the boss of Qingyang City is. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Dong angrily dashed out of the door and headed towards the private room where Zhu Yuyu and the rest were seated. In the private room, Su Cheng was thinking about how to build a good relationship with Zhu Yuyu and the others, and at the same time, ease his strained relationship with Yi Zan. He did not expect that before he could even take action, Lin Dong had already led a group of his underlings and furiously barged in. What? Su Cheng frowned when he saw this. When he saw that the people who had arrived were Lin Dong and his group of followers, he was puzzled. Was there something wrong with this guy's brain? I didn't provoke him during this period of time, so why did he come looking for me? Lin Dong furiously glared at Su Cheng, Zhu Yuyu and the rest as he sneered. I thought you were noble people since you rejected me, but I didn't expect that you'd take a fancy to this kind of trash. Hearing this, Feng Xian smiled, but did not say anything. At the side, Zhu Yuyu's eyes instantly turned cold. She was about to beat this guy up, but she was stopped by Feng Xian. Feng Xian knew that Lin Dong must have thought that they had taken a fancy to Su Cheng. This was why he had angrily rushed over. These descendants of the major families were all like this. They wanted to compete for superiority in everything they did. After failing to win their favor, Lin Dong discovered that Su Cheng was actually sharing a private room with them, so he naturally could not take this lying down. When she thought of this, Feng Xian chuckled inwardly. Interesting. She immediately looked at Su Cheng, who was beside her, and said as if she was just watching a show. Young Master Su, this guy actually called you trash. Su Chenghei's mouth twitched when he heard that. He could not help it. Lin Dong, a dog like you dares to scold me. I spent so much effort to improve my impression in front of these beautiful women, but this guy's one sentence has undone all of my work. Who the FCK could endure this? At this moment, Elder Chen whispered, Young Master, it is very likely that Lin Dong's group is here for the fairies. If we can solve this problem, perhaps it will help our relationship with Chief Yi Zan. 408 Han Sikong. Su Chenghei's eyes lit up. Why did he not think of this earlier? Fortunately, Elder Chen was by his side, otherwise he would have missed this opportunity. Su Cheng said to Feng Xian and the others with a smile, Fairies, don't worry. He's just a rascal. I'll deal with him. Oh, since that's the case, then I'll have to trouble young Master Su to deal with him. Feng Xian did not seem to mind the matter blowing up. There was not the slightest bit of panic on her face. Su Chenghei's eyes were ice cold as he stood up and stared at Lin Dong. I thought it was some dog barking, but it was young Master Lin. What's wrong? Is there something you need from me? Upon hearing this, the corners of Lin Dong's mouth curled into a disdainful smile. You're just a piece of trash, yet you want to act like a hero saving the beauty. If you don't want to be crippled by me, then hurry up and get lost. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Oh, I'm curious as to how you plan to cripple me. I've been in Qingyang City for more than 10 years, yet the word, fear, has never existed in my dictionary. Your Lin family may be powerful, but my Su family is not afraid of your family. Upon hearing this, Lin Dong's eyes involuntarily narrowed as he took a deep look at Su Cheng. His heart was filled with doubts. In the past, this guy would immediately hide like a dog when he saw him. When did he suddenly become a tough guy? However, Lin Dong did not know that Su Cheng was extremely shrewd. The reason why Su Cheng had previously avoided Lin Dong was because he knew that the Su family's current strength had been lacking in comparison to the Lin family's strength. However, things were different now. He had Yi Zan's 2 disciples behind him, and he also had the behemoth that was the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. Most importantly, Su Cheng understood Yi Zan's protective nature. If Yi Zan knew that the Lin family dared to bully his disciples, he would definitely not let the matter rest. Just as the two of them were confronting each other, Elder Chen used the Su family's special secret code to pass a message out from the private room. After all, Su Cheng was the eldest young master of the Su family. How could he be the only guard? There were many experts following them secretly. Once they had received Elder Chen's secret signal, they quickly went back to inform Su Tianshan. Hee, Su Cheng, it's only been a few days since we last met, but you've become quite brave. Lin Dong was so furious that he laughed. No matter what it was that made Su Cheng confident today, he had to vent his anger. At the very least, he could not let the trashy Su Cheng oppress him. Oh, is that so? In the future, I will become even more unyielding, Su Chang said indifferently. Very good. You have completely infuriated me. If I am unable to break your legs today, then I am not Lin Dong. He immediately waved his hand and ordered his underlings behind him to charge. At this moment, a faint voice suddenly rang out from the front of the private room. Young Master Lin, are you trying to make a move in my restaurant? After that, a middle-aged man dressed in a black robe walked over and looked at Lin Dong with an ice-cold gaze. The middle-aged man was the owner of Qingyang Restaurant, and a powerful Heaven Realm expert. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong's expression involuntarily changed. Although he was furious, he could only stop. The middle-aged man's name was Han Sikong. It was said that he came from an ancient clan. Not only that, their clan had businesses spread all over the East continent, and they were extremely powerful. No matter how powerful the Lin family was, they were only a large family in the Yangli Divine Empire. How could they compare? Lin Dong greets Senior Han. I was in the wrong earlier. I hope that Senior Han will not take it to heart. Hearing this, Han Sikong sneered. Remember, no matter what conflict you have with others, you cannot cause trouble in my Qingyang restaurant. Even if your father came here personally, he wouldn't have the guts to do this. Get lost. As soon as he finished speaking, the terrifying spiritual pressure of a Heaven Realm expert suddenly swept out. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong's expression immediately changed as he hurriedly circulated the spiritual power within his body to resist. However, the spiritual power of a Heaven Realm expert realm was too terrifying, and it easily forced Lin Dong to lower his head. Lin Dong's bone armor emitted a crackling sound, before his legs bent and he directly knelt on the ground, while his entire body was covered in sweat. After some intimidation, Han Sikong withdrew his spiritual pressure. As if he had been granted amnesty, Lin Dong looked at Han Sikong with lingering fear. Thank you, Senior, for showing mercy. Let's go back. Lin Dong dragged his weak body and stood up with great difficulty. With a miserable expression, he led his group of followers and left. Before he left, Lin Dong's eyes were filled with killing intent as he looked at Su Chang, Feng Xian and the rest. Since he was young, when had he ever suffered such grievances? Today, Han Sikong protected them, but what about the future? It seems that there will be a lot of trouble in the future. Feng Xian's mouth curved into a beautiful arc. Beside her, Zhu Guiyu's expression was solemn. This Lin Dong is nothing much. The most important thing is the family behind him. After all, they were in Qingyang City, in which the Lin family was one of the major powers. Furthermore, Lin Dong seemed to be a cultivator of the immortal divine sect. Although the Great Wilderness Divine Sect was not afraid of the Immortal Divine Sect, the two had always maintained a friendly relationship. What would the stance of the two sects be in this conflict? Su Chang naturally noticed the worry in Zhu Guiyu's eyes and patted his chest with a smile. Fairy, don't worry. Although the Lin family is powerful, our Su family can still fight. If you are really worried, you can stay with our Su family. We will do our best to protect you. When Zhu Guiyu heard this, she looked at Su Chang in surprise. She was a little confused. The two sides had just met by chance. Not only did they not have any friendship, but they even had grudges with each other. Why was this guy helping them? Most importantly, Su Chang was willing to stake it all against the Lin family. Han Sikong looked at Su Chang in surprise. Young Master Su really has an extraordinary bearing. For the safety of these young ladies, you actually did not hesitate to go up against the Lin family. 409. Do you want to stay at my place? Su Changhei's mouth twitched when he heard that. He quickly whispered in Han Sikong's ear. Senior Han, please don't make fun of me. I'm not doing this for these women, I'm just afraid of their teacher. That fellow's strength is far too terrifying. If I didn't do my part to take care of them, he would probably come to Qingyang City to personally deal with me. Oh, Han Sikong raised his eyebrows and looked at Su Chang in surprise. What kind of terrifying existence was it that could actually make the arrogant young Master Su so frightened? Furthermore, the Su family's headquarters was in Qingyang City, and his father was also a powerful Heaven Realm expert. Under such circumstances, Su Chang was still so afraid of the other party. Could it be that their teacher's strength exceeded the Heaven Realm? Who is young Master Su referring to? Could it be that his strength is very terrifying? Terrifying isn't even enough to describe him. That guy can only be called abnormal. I'm sure you know the strength of my family's two Heaven Realm elders. They couldn't even take one strike from him. They almost died on the spot, Su Chang said. It's terrifying just recalling it. I've never seen such a powerful cultivator. What? He injured 2 Heaven Realm experts with 1 strike. If that's the case, I'm quite interested in this person. Han Sikong narrowed his eyes. Han Sikong knew the 2 Sha family Heaven Realm elders quite well. He had even fought them a few times. Someone who could severely injure those 2 with 1 sword strike would be extraordinarily powerful. When did the East Continent have such powerful cultivators? How had such a person escaped his notice? If what Su Chang said was true, then the teacher of these 2 women was indeed worth befriending. Where is their teacher from? Which holy land? The chief of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect's Cloud Sky Peak, Yi Zan. Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Cloud Sky Peak. Hearing this, a sage-like old man suddenly appeared in Han Sikong's mind. That old man had suppressed almost all the top holy lands in the East Continent by himself. That old man was Tian Zan. Tian Zan was from Cloud Sky Peak. Could Yi Zan be his successor? If so, then his strength made sense. Immediately, Han Sikong turned to look at Zhu Guoyu and Feng Xian. A mysterious light flashed across the depths of his eyes. With his strength, he could naturally tell at a glance that the 2 women possessed the unique aura of divine bones. Heavens, both of them have high-grade divine bones. Han Sikong took a deep breath, and his expression became serious. In the cultivation system of the mystic world, the higher the grade of one's divine bones, the more potential they had to become peerless experts. Zhu Guoyu had already reached the 1st level of the materialization realm, and Feng Xian was a 2nd-level divine mystic realm cultivator. He did not expect Yi Zan's disciples to be so talented. This is really unbelievable. Yi Zan's luck in taking in disciples is so good. It seems that the Lin family has really kicked an iron plate. Thinking this, Han Sikong simply smiled and said nothing. He also understood why Su Chang wanted to befriend Zhu Guoyu and Feng Xian at the cost of offending the Lin family. It seemed that the Su family had made their choice to side with the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. The Great Wilderness Divine Sect was extremely powerful and was one of the top holy lands of the Yangli Divine Empire, so it was indeed a good choice. What do you 2 fairies want to do? If the 2 of you don't mind, I will immediately order people to clean up this mess. Please don't worry, I've decided not to have any ill intentions. I behaved inappropriately back then, and now I only want to atone for my sins. I hope Chief Yi Zan can forgive me. In Qingyang City, under the protection of our Su family, even the Lin family will not be able to make a move easily. Hearing this, Zhu Guoyu started to hesitate. She had a conservative personality and did not want to make a big deal out of it. After all, Lin Dong still had the immortal divine sect behind him. If they were dragged into this conflict, it was extremely likely that it would cause a lot of trouble for her teacher. Senior sister, since young Master Su has invited us so graciously, why don't we go over and stay for a few days? Teacher has already gone to explore the surrounding area yesterday, and we don't know when he will return. Rather than staying at an inn and worrying about Lin Dong's revenge, why not stay at the Su family's residence for a few days instead? Feng Xian, who was at the side, spoke up at this point. Although she was not afraid of the Lin family's revenge, it would naturally be best if she could avoid it. After all, her identity was extremely special. Unless it was a critical moment, it was best not to expose her identity. Since that's the case, then we'll go with junior sister's suggestion. Zhu Guoyu thought about it seriously and then agreed with Feng Xian's idea. However, Zhu Guoyu was still worried about Yi Zan. The archaic divine mountain range which Yi Zan was exploring was extremely dangerous. Still, given her teacher's current strength, unless he encountered a mystic lord realm descendant of an ancient beast, there would be no threat to him. However, that strange aura that the beasts possessed was worrying. She regretted asking him to investigate this matter and felt a little guilty. That being said, all she could do now was pray inwardly that he would be safe. 410 How dare you impersonate the princess? After getting Zhu Guoyu's approval, Feng Xian smiled and said to Su Chang. Looks like we'll have to trouble young Master Su for the next few days. Don't worry, fairy. This isn't a big deal. There's no need to pay it any mind. Since that's the case, let's leave quickly. That fellow Lin Dong will definitely seek revenge for the smallest grievance, so we must be careful, Su Chang said hurriedly before heading downstairs. At this moment, opposite Qingyang restaurant was another luxurious restaurant. Lin Dong was in that restaurant. He was currently furiously staring at the Qingyang restaurant. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Looking at the wine cup embedded with jades in his hand, he was angry. He crushed it and said to his subordinate fiercely, Keep an eye on their movements for me. HMPH. Although Han Sikong is powerful, he can't protect them forever. I don't believe they'll hide in there forever. As long as those people leave Qingyang restaurant, Han Sikong will have no excuse to intervene. At this moment, a guard beside him said worriedly, "Young master, this matter involves Su Cheng after all. Should we go back and inform the family head?" Upon hearing this, Lin Dong involuntarily narrowed his eyes as he carefully pondered. He could have let Su Cheng off for Su Tiansheng's sake, but since this guy did not know what was good for him, he could not be blamed for being ruthless. Moreover, in Qingyang City, the Lin family and the Su family had always been at odds. Previously, his father could not find a reasonable excuse to suppress the Su family. Now, Su Chenghei's actions had undoubtedly given him a chance. It seemed that it was time to tell his father about this. Quickly return and tell my father about everything that happened here. Yes, young master. While Lin Dong was glowering at the Qingyang restaurant, an extremely beautiful lady was currently squatting down to help him reduce his anger. Just like that, time passed by slowly. The bustling streets were filled with people, completely unaware of the chaos that was about to descend upon Qingyang City. At this moment, Su Cheng left Qingyang restaurant with a smile on his face. Zhu Yuyu, Feng Xian, and Exener followed behind him. Just as they were about to head in the direction of the Su family's residence, a group of people dressed in black robes suddenly surrounded them and blocked their way. Su Chenghei's expression changed when he saw that. He was naturally aware that these people were sent by Lin Dong. Just as he was about to speak, Feng Xian, who was beside him, stood up and spoke in an indifferent manner. "Hee, you guys are pretty fast." At this moment, the group of cultivators made way for a young man in luxurious clothes to walk over slowly. This well-dressed young man was Lin Dong. The corners of Lin Dong's mouth curled into a faint smile. "You two BT chess sure move quickly. Do you really think that you are safe just because you relied on Su Cheng?" Hearing this, Feng Xian's expression did not change in the slightest. She indifferently looked at the cultivators around her. Elder Chen, who was beside Su Cheng, said with a solemn expression, "Young master, you all have to be careful. These cultivators are not weak. The strongest one has reached the 6th level of the Void Realm. It's just the 6th level of the Void Realm. Elder Chen, you're a 9th level Void Realm cultivator. What's there to be afraid of?" Su Cheng could not understand. Elder Chen was a little helpless. His own cultivation level was well known, so there was no way Lin Dong merely dispatched 6th level Void Realm cultivators to deal with them. There had to be stronger cultivators from the Lin family lying in wait. When he saw that they had been surrounded, the smile on Lin Dong's face grew even wider. He looked at Feng Xian with an extremely arrogant expression. "Little BTCH, weren't you very arrogant just now? I'd like to see how you plan to escape my grasp today." Feng Xian did not refute him. She was simply too lazy to care about Lin Dong. However, there was not the slightest trace of fear on her face. After all, she was the princess of the Yangli Divine Empire. If she was frightened by such a scene, how could she be called a princess? Truly impudent. Open your dog eyes a little wider. How dare you speak to the princess in such a manner? I don't think there's a need for your Lin family to exist anymore. When she saw that Lin Dong dared to insult Feng Xian, Exener immediately flew into a rage. "What, princess?" As soon as she finished speaking, everyone's eyes lit up. "You are the princess of the Yangli Divine Empire." Lin Dong's eyes involuntarily widened as his pupils were filled with disbelief. If the other party was really the princess of the Yangli Divine Empire, the Lin family was indeed in trouble. After all, no matter how powerful the Lin family was, they were only a family under the sovereignty of the Yangli Divine Empire. How could they be compared to the royal family? In contrast to Lin Dong's panic, Su Cheng nearly jumped up in joy. "Oh my god, I didn't expect this fairy to be the princess of the Divine Empire. I've really struck gold this time. Hee. When I go back, my father will surely praise me." Su Cheng was overjoyed. At this moment, Lin Dong's face was extremely ashen. His expression was as if he had just eaten a mouthful of shit. "How can you prove that you are the princess of the Divine Empire? Why would the princess of the Divine Empire come to Qingyang City?" Hearing this, Feng Xian smiled as she spoke elegantly. "I wonder how young Master Lin wants me to prove it. Well, you should at least have a token from the royal family, right?" Quote. "I'm really sorry. I came out in a hurry this time and didn't bring it along." Feng Xian shook her head. She had escaped with Exener in a hurry, so how could she have had the time to bring the token along? Even if she had the time, Feng Xian would definitely have not brought it along in case it could be traced by the royal family. Hee. How can the princess of the Divine Empire not have the royal family's token? UBTCH, how dare you impersonate the princess? You deserve to die 1,000 times. No one can protect you today. When he heard that Feng Xian did not have the royal family's token, Lin Dong immediately laughed. 411 I'll cut you into pieces. A sneer formed on the corners of his mouth. Regardless of whether Feng Xian was the princess of the Divine Empire, as long as she was unable to prove her identity, Lin Dong would be able to deal with her as a fake. Moreover, even if the royal family pursued the matter, he would have an excuse. Hee. If I can enjoy this beautiful princess, my life will not have been in vain. When he thought of this, a lecherous glint flashed across the depths of Lin Dong's eyes. The scene of Feng Xian being conquered by him was already being played out in his mind. Moments later, as he looked at Feng Xian, he waved his hand. Capture all of them. Who gave you the guts to do that? When Su Cheng saw this, he was furious. He's just a piece of trash from the Su family. Bring this guy back too. Lin Dong was too lazy to care. Right now, he only wanted to capture Feng Xian and bring her back. After Lin Dong's words rang out, the cultivators of the Lin family behind him immediately took action. Elder Chen's face was grave. His spiritual power surged out and blocked most of the cultivators. However, at this moment, two streaks of light suddenly flashed past from the corner of the street. They were two old men in red robes, both of whom were 9th-level Void Realm experts. Seeing this, Elder Chen's expression changed drastically. As expected, Lin Dong definitely had backup. At this moment, Han Sikong was watching all of this from the top floor of Qingyang restaurant. However, he did not make a move. The reason was very simple. His spiritual sense could detect the impending arrival of a terrifying expert. Young master, I'll do my best to hold them back. Please leave with the three ladies. Elder Chen unleashed his full power to block the attacks of the cultivators as he spoke to Su Cheng anxiously. Even with two 9th-level Void Realm experts facing him, Elder Chen was not at a disadvantage in this battle. Since you're already here, why are you leaving? Suddenly, an arrogant voice rang out. Moments later, a powerful aura burst forth, and then a middle-aged man with a burly figure turned into a streak of light and suddenly appeared. Lin Yuming. Seeing this, Elder Chen's expression changed drastically. Lin Yuming was the head of the Lin family, and a terrifying Heaven Realm expert. With me around, no one will be able to save you. As soon as Lin Yuming appeared, he clapped his hands, and a powerful force burst out that severely injured Elder Chen. If Elder Chen had not reacted in time, he would have died. Right at this moment, another extremely terrifying aura suddenly descended. Lin Yuming, UBSTARD, if you dare to touch even a hair on my precious son's head, I'll cut you into pieces. As soon as he finished speaking, a middle-aged man with a dignified gaze suddenly appeared. He held a large saber in his hand and walked forward step by step. Father. Su Cheng was ecstatic when he saw Su Tiansheng. His nervousness vanished. Son, don't worry, your father is here. No one will be able to touch you today. Su Tiansheng's voice was majestic, and his eyes were filled with anger. He did not expect that someone would dare to bully his precious son in his own territory. In an instant, Su Tiansheng had already arrived in front of Su Cheng. He checked on Elder Chen's injuries and instantly became even more furious. I didn't think that your Lin family would be so shameless. You're actually bullying people with numbers. Alright, then let me experience the Lin family's abilities. As soon as he finished speaking, the big saber in Su Tiansheng's hand blossomed with a sharp saber chi that cut through the sky and slashed toward Lin Yuming. Lin Yuming snorted coldly, and the surging power in his body also swept out as he began to fight Su Tiansheng. The two of them were both Heaven Realm experts, and having been rivals for many years, they were equally matched during their past encounters. However, Su Tiansheng's fury this time allowed him to gain the upper hand. While the two Heaven Realm experts were fighting, the cultivators around them were not idle. Now that Elder Chen was severely injured and could no longer resist, it was undoubtedly the best time to take down Su Cheng and the others. At that moment, an old man in a black robe suddenly appeared beside Su Cheng. This old man was Elder Lin. Damn it, it's another Heaven Realm expert. I didn't expect the Su family to dispatch all of their Heaven Realm experts. This is going to be tricky. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong cursed inwardly. Soon after, he hurriedly retreated behind his subordinates. In the end, the outcome of this fight depended on Su Tiansheng and Lin Yuming. Both sides unleashed their own powerful abilities and collided with each other in the sky. The powerful shockwaves wreaked havoc on the ground, and cracks appeared on the ground, and many buildings were destroyed. Hee, I can't believe that you haven't made any progress after more than 10 years. Su Tiansheng was getting braver as the battle progressed. The saber in his hand created saber chi that filled the sky, suppressing Lin Yuming. Su Tiansheng's attacks were occasionally wounding Lin Yuming. As time passed, Lin Yuming's aura started to diminish, and his figure started to look a little pathetic. Although the Su family's overall strength was indeed inferior to the Lin family's, Su Tiansheng had an extremely powerful divine bone. Before this, Su Tiansheng had previously fought 2 Heaven Realm experts without being at a disadvantage. This was also the true reason why the Su family was able to establish itself in Qingyang City. Su Tiansheng, don't tell me you want to fight the Lin family to the death for 3 little girls. After discovering that he was no match for Su Tiansheng, Lin Yuming started threatening him. What surprised him was that the Su family, which had always been conservative, seemed to have gone crazy today. Even Su Tiansheng, this old man, had personally taken action. This was 2FC King Strange, was it not? Are you kidding me? You've already sent people to bully my precious son. Do you think I will hold back anymore? Su Tiansheng's lips curled into a sneer, and the saber in his hand knocked Lin Yuming down from the sky with a powerful strike. Lin Yuming's body smashed into the ground, and a huge hole appeared at the impact site. PFF'd. Lin Yuming could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. He quickly crushed a token in his storage ring. Very quickly, black shadows appeared in the surroundings one after the other, surrounding the entire street. These were the Lin family's experts. Seeing this, Su Tiansheng's expression changed. It was obvious that the Lin family had already set up an ambush on the streets. 412 The might of the Cloud Sky Sword. Su Tiansheng, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. You can leave with your Su family, but these 3 women must stay. Otherwise, you will be declaring war on my Lin family. Lin Yuming slowly stood up, a cold smile on his face. Earlier on, Lin Dong had already told him everything. However, Feng Xian and Zhu Yuyu did not put the Lin family in their eyes at all. Therefore, they had to be taught a good lesson. He wanted to use this to tell the world the miserable consequences of offending the Lin family. The most important thing was that he could clearly sense that Feng Xian and Zhu Yuyu actually possessed the innate god's bones. He had actually encountered such a rare physique, and there were 2 of them at once. Immediately, Lin Yuming had a change of heart and wanted to dig out the innate divine bones in their bodies. As long as he obtained these 2 pieces of innate god's bones, he would be able to transfer them to Lin Dong's body through a special method. It was also because of this that he didn't hesitate to use the Lin family's power to surround the street and even offend Su Tiansheng. However, even though his men had surrounded the street, the situation was not very optimistic. Su Tiansheng's attribute of getting stronger when he encountered a strong opponent was simply too heaven-defying. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to threaten them with his words. At the very least, he had to take down Feng Xian and Zhu Yuyu for now. As for the Su family, he would slowly deal with them in the future. Seeing this, Su Tiansheng's expression also became serious. He didn't know what to choose. After all, he didn't know if Feng Xian and Zhu Yuyu were too important to ease on. If it was just a random disciple, then even if they offended the Lin family at all costs, they might not be able to get any benefits. At this moment, Feng Xian walked out with an indifferent expression. She looked at Su Tiansheng, who had a grave expression, and smiled lightly. Master Su, we've already troubled the Su family a lot for today's matter. We can't make any more sacrifices. We'll remember the Su family's kindness today. If we can leave safely, we'll definitely repay the Su family's kindness in the future. Seeing this, Su Tiansheng's heart was instantly moved, and he even looked at this Feng Xian in a new light. He didn't expect that at such a young age, in such an emergency situation, he could still be so calm and composed, and even consider for them, he was a person with deep feelings. Forget it. Wasn't it just the Lin family? So what if I beat him up? Little girl, don't worry. Just based on your words, this lord will definitely take charge of this matter. HMPH. You're looking for death. Seeing this, Lin Yuming's eyes turned cold, and he was about to order his subordinates to attack. At this moment, Zhu Yuyu stood out. With a wave of her sleeves, the cloud sky sword, which was shining with bright light, suddenly appeared. In an instant, everyone's gazes involuntarily fell on the Cloud Sky Sword. Could this Suan Ni magic treasure be the Cloudsky sword? Isn't this old man Tianzan's treasure? How did this little girl get it? Lin Yuming's expression changed when he saw this. As cultivators of the previous generation, almost everyone knew of the Cloud Sky Sword's reputation. After all, the owner of the Cloud Sky Sword was a terrifying existence that struck fear into the hearts of all the top-tier holy lands. He was the former chief elder of the Cloud Sky Peak and a supreme state expert who had fallen 100 years ago, the old man Tianzan. Ha ha ha, it really is the Cloud Sky Sword. Su Tiansheng couldn't help but laugh when he saw this. The moment Yun Tianjian appeared, he already understood how important Zhu Yueyu's identity was. The Cloud Sky Sword was the symbol of the Cloud Sky Peak's inheritance. With the Cloud Sky Sword in Zhu Yueyu's hands, it meant that she was the next heir to the Cloud Sky Peak. This was enough to prove Zhu Yueyu's position in Yizan's heart. Just now, he was still hesitating whether these two people were worthy of his full protection. Now, what was there to hesitate about? Yingluo, who are you? At this moment, Lin Yuming could not help but show a look of fear. Zhu Yueyu looked at him coldly, then walked out with an indifferent expression and said with a calm gaze. I'm the first disciple of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect's chief elder of Cloud Sky Peak, Yizan, Zhu Yueyu. As soon as his words fell, everyone's pupils could not help but suddenly shrink, their eyes full of shock. What? Yizan, how is this possible? Beside him, Lin Dong's face involuntarily turned pale, while his heart was filled with despair. He didn't want to believe it, but the Cloud Sky Sword in Zhu Yueyu's hand was a slap to his face. Other people might be unfamiliar with Yizan's name, but he was different. The reason was simple. His teacher was Su Mobai from the Temple of the Immortals, and he had personally fought with Yizan before. The most important thing was that when Su Mobai and Yizan fought, he was there to witness it with his own eyes. He was even more shocked when he saw Yizan severely injure the two powerhouses of the Heaven-Hidden Realm with one strike. However, it was a pity that he did not notice Zhu Yueyu at all because he was attracted by Yizan. Otherwise, how would he dare to provoke Zhu Yueyu? Now that he saw Zhu Yueyu reveal the Cloud Sky Sword, how could Lin Dong not understand what kind of person he had provoked? In an instant, Lin Dong's face was pale and bloodless, while his body could not help but tremble. The Great Desolation Divine Sect was a top holy land on the same level as the Ageless Shrine, and its overall strength even surpassed the Ageless Shrine. When Lin Yuming heard Zhu Yueyu's name, his face turned ashen. He looked at his son and almost vomited blood. This good-for-nothing was really incompetent, even though she told him that these two little girls were only ordinary cultivators. Wasn't this a complete scam? Master, what should we do? The two powerful guards of the Lin family came to Lin Yuming's back and asked with worry. Some time ago, the news that Yizan had severely injured two powerhouses in the Heaven-Hidden Realm with one sword strike had spread throughout the East Continent, so they had naturally heard of it. Damn it, no wonder Su Tiansheng is trying so hard to protect these two little girls. It seems like he's planning to join the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. This matter has become tricky, Yingying. Feng Xian couldn't help but be curious when she saw the Lin family's solemn expressions. Senior sister, what's the origin of the long sword in your hand? Why are they so afraid when they see it? Zhu Yueyu was also a little confused. I'm not too sure either, but my teacher told me that this Cloud Sky Sword seems to be the magic weapon of the chief elders of the Cloud Sky Peak. Moreover, the Cloud Sky Sword's reputation was built on the founder, Old Man Tianxuan. However, teacher didn't mention the specific details. However, my teacher also instructed me to bring out the Cloud Sky Sword if I encounter any danger. 413 The Saint and the Saintess. Oh my god, I didn't expect our Grand Master to be so powerful. Even his weapon is enough to frighten the Lin family. When Feng Xian heard this, her eyes shone. It seemed like today's matter could be resolved. As expected of teacher, he actually left behind a trump card for senior sister. Father, what should we do now? The atmosphere instantly turned extremely awkward. Lin Dong's face was pale as he looked at Lin Yuming with a worried expression. Damn brat, you've caused a disaster. I'll beat you up when I get back. I warned you before to be more restrained during this period of time, yet look at what you've done. You should be glad that their teacher isn't in Qingyang City. Otherwise, even the Immortal Divine Sect wouldn't be able to save your life. Lin Yuming had an exasperated look on his face. Upon hearing this, Lin Dong's face turned even paler, while his heart was filled with regret. However, Lin Yuming was also clear that now was not the time to criticize Lin Dong. The most important thing now was to solve the current problem. He forced a smile and looked at Zhu Guiyu with an obsequious smile. I didn't expect you to be a disciple from the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. Fortunately, we didn't fight just now. I happen to have a good relationship with Chief Gao Shun. If I had known that you two were from the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, my Lin family would have treated you with the utmost courtesy. Thankfully, we avoided the worst-case scenario. Lin Yuming had a pained look on his face as he delivered an Oscar-worthy performance. When Lin Dong saw this, the corners of his mouth involuntarily twitched. As expected of his father, his skin was truly as thick as an iron wall. How could Zhu Guiyu not know Lin Yuming's intentions? However, Yi Zan was not by her side at the moment, so it was not good to make a big deal out of it. Pa pa pa. At this moment, a round of applause suddenly rang out from a tall building not far away. When everyone heard this, they looked in the direction of the sound. They saw 3 people atop a tall building. A handsome young man was standing in the middle, and 2 old men were sitting behind him. The young man was dressed in green and had an extraordinary bearing. It's really exciting. I didn't expect to see such a good show in Qingyang City. The young man's lips curved into an arc as he praised the performance teasingly. Then, he gave Lin Yuming a thumbs up. However, what puzzled everyone was that Lin Yuming was not angered by the young man's provocative behavior. Instead, there was respect on his face. Seeing this, Feng Xian was a little puzzled. Who is this person? Why is the head of the Lin family so afraid of him? Zhu Guiyu shook her head as well, indicating that she did not recognize this young man as well. However, at that moment, Su Chang, who was beside them, became terrified. His body could not help but tremble. Heavens, it's the saint, Mu Baikan. Saint. When Zhu Guiyu heard this, she frowned. It seemed that this young man's background was quite frightening. Su Chang quickly said, Mu Baikan hails from the ancient Mu family. He was born with a Dao body. He is the saint of the Heavenly Mountain Divine Sect. Although he's young, he's already reached the 9th level of the materialization realm. His level of talent is extremely monstrous, and the Heavenly Mountain Divine Sect has high hopes for him. They say that he has a high chance of becoming a sealed immortal realm expert in the future. He is considered to be on the same level as the saintess from the Jade Lake Divine Sect, the Reincarnation Fairy, and Baili Dongjun from the Supreme Divine Sect. Feng Xian and Zhu Guiyu looked at each other when they heard this. They could see the shock in each other's eyes. This person was actually a 9th level materialization realm expert. It was no wonder was the saint of the Heavenly Mountain Divine Sect. Even the eldest disciple of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Hua Rufeng, was only a 5th level materialization realm expert. At that moment, Zhu Guiyu felt a sense of pressure. Before they left the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Yi Zan had already instructed her to broaden her horizons while training in the outside world and to see the peerless geniuses among her peers. Don't be proud of your own achievements. You must understand that there is always someone better. Compared to Zhu Guiyu, Feng Xian did not think much of it. After all, Zhu Guiyu was the successor of Cloud Sky Peak, and not her. It could be said that Mu Baikan's arrival had made the originally awkward situation even more depressing. Everyone looked up at the building with a serious expression. Of course, they were not afraid of Mu Baikan himself, but the 2 old men beside him. One of them had an aura as vast as the ocean. It was obvious that he was at the very least a mystic Lord Realm cultivator. Hiss. As expected of the direct descendant of an ancient family. He actually has a mystic Lord Realm guardian by his side. When Su Tiansheng saw this, his pupils shrank, and he took a deep breath. A mystic Lord Realm expert was beyond his ability to deal with. At this moment, Lin Dong was so scared that he almost peed his pants. His body could not help but tremble, and he did not know what to say in this situation. However, at this moment, there was a bright streak of light in the sky. A few figures suddenly appeared on the other side of the building. When everyone saw this, they could not help but look up, and were promptly dumbfounded. A peerless beauty had suddenly appeared there. She hovered in the sky barefoot, and 2 bells hung on her ankles. Her aura indicated that she was infinitely close to the void realm. Hiss. It's the Reincarnation Fairy. What's going on? Why have 2 peerless geniuses showed up in Qingyang City? Su Changhei's mouth was wide open when he saw this. 414 Gathering of Geniuses. Su Chang was gobsmacked. Although young masters like him were usually arrogant and foppish, they were only arrogant within the boundaries of Qingyang City. If they met these big shots, they would become as obedient as dogs. Seeing the reincarnation fairy appear, Mu Baiken raised his eyelids slightly, but he did not say anything to her. Instead, his gaze turned back to Lin Yuming. Today, if it wasn't for the Lin family head's passionate performance, I wouldn't have been able to witness such a shameless show. Compared to the Lin family head, I'm a little ashamed. I've thought about it, but I don't know if I could ever be so shameless. When Lin Yuming heard this, his lips twitched. He knew very well that Mu Baiken was mocking him on purpose. However, the other party's identity was so terrifying that he did not dare to retort. However, he was also puzzled. Why would these peerless geniuses of the Yangli Divine Empire suddenly appear in Qingyang City? Everyone's expression turned grave. If there was someone who could still maintain a calm expression, it would be Feng Xian. After all, she was the princess of the Yangli Divine Empire. Young Master Mu really knows how to joke. How would this old man dare to make a fuss in front of young Master Nu? Lin Yuming forced out a smile and was about to explain. However, Mu Baiken waved his hand and interrupted him rudely, disregarding Lin Yuming entirely. All right, I'm too lazy to listen to you. Then, Mu Baiken's gaze fell on Zhu Yuyu. He was slightly surprised by the latter's cold and aloof temperament. Of course, he was only slightly surprised. After all, as the saint of an ancient family, he had seen far more in life. What he valued was not only beauty, but also absolute strength. Cloud Sky Sword. Back then, Chief Tian Zan's strength was extraordinary. He could be said to be the strongest under the ancient realm. I didn't expect that 100 years after his death, his treasure would actually end up in your hands. Mu Baiken's eyes were filled with regret. Fairy, can I take a look at the Cloud Sky Sword? Hearing this, Zhu Yuyu was puzzled. The Cloud Sky Sword's grade is quite ordinary. It's just an Earth rank artifact. Why is young Master Mu interested in it? Mu Baiken did not refute her words, but said with a smile. Sometimes, the grade of the artifact is not important, but rather who its owner is. Only the weak will rely on artifacts. For those who are truly strong, especially sword cultivators, even a wooden sword can release the most dazzling and powerful sword chi. When I was young, I heard that the Great Wilderness Divine Sect's Chief Tian Zan entered the ancient battlefield alone. His sword chi swept across thousands of miles and stopped the invasion of the myriad races. He was like a god back then. Although the Cloud Sky Sword's grade isn't anything special, it's already part of that legend. Hearing Mu Baiken's words, Zhu Yuyu finally understood. When she first received this sword from Yizan, she had been curious as to why Yuelin displayed such an expression. She had no idea that the Cloud Sky Sword was part of such a legendary feat. When she thought of this, Zhu Yuyu felt very happy that Yizan valued her so much as to give her this precious sword. Alright, I'll let you take a look. Zhu Yuyu looked at Mu Baiken, then handed the Cloud Sky Sword to him. Seeing this, Mu Baiken took the Cloud Sky Sword with a solemn expression and carefully examined the sword. As expected, the Cloud Sky Sword contained residual traces of Tian Zan's destructive sword chi. Not only was he a peerless genius with a Dao body, but he was also a genius who was obsessed with the sword Dao. Every time he encountered a peerless sword, he could not help but admire it. The saint of the Mu family must really be in a good mood to actually come all the way to Qingyang City to see a sword. At this moment, a cold voice rang out. Mu Baiken glanced in the direction of the voice. Oh, Xu Chengqing, I didn't expect you to come and join in the fun. Mu Baiken looked at the Cloud Sky Sword in his hand as he spoke. Xu Chengqing did not bother to pay attention to him. His eyes fell on the Reincarnation Fairy, and the corners of his mouth curved into an arc. Reincarnation Fairy, we are really fated to meet again. The corners of the Reincarnation Fairy's mouth twitched. Were it not for the need to maintain her public image, she would have slapped him. Where did this bullshit fate come from? This guy had stalked her for a month. Did he really think that she had not noticed? Please don't spout nonsense, the Reincarnation Fairy said indifferently as she turned her face away, not even bothering to look at Xu Chengqing. At this moment, Mu Baiken finished admiring the Cloud Sky Sword and returned it to Zhu Yuyu. It's truly a peerless sword. It's worthy of being Chief Tian Zan's weapon. I hope you will safeguard it well and uphold its reputation. Zhu Yuyu nodded and did not say anything further. Mu Baiken's eyes then fell on Lin Yuming, and a cold light flashed across the depths of his eyes. He had always disliked those who bullied the weak, especially people like this thick-skinned Lin Yuming. Just as he was about to make a move, a few cultivators suddenly descended from the sky and blocked Mu Baiken. On the contrary, when Lin Dong saw these cultivators, his eyes involuntarily filled with joy as he hurriedly knelt down. Lin Dong greets teacher and martial uncles. Just a moment ago, Lin Dong had felt that he was going to die for sure. Thankfully, Sun Mobai and a few elders from the Immortal Divine Sect had actually descended at this critical moment. Su Mobai first looked at Lin Dong, before his gaze landed on Mu Baikan. Mu Baikan, my disciple was too insensible and accidentally offended you. I hope that the saint can forgive him on my account. Mu Baikan laughed and smiled. Do you really think that the person your precious disciple provoked is me? Of course, if Sun Mobai had not suddenly appeared, he would not have minded helping Zhu Yuyu and the others deal with Lin Dong. 415 words that make one tremble. However, now that the cultivators of the Immortal Divine Sect had arrived, there was naturally no point in him taking action. When Sun Mobai heard these words, he was stunned. He had just arrived at Qingyang City and immediately discovered that Mu Baikan was about to attack Lin Dong. Hence, he hurriedly came over to stop him. However, he was not very clear about the reason behind the altercation. Lin Dong, what exactly happened? Lin Dong's body involuntarily trembled, and his face was filled with fear. However, in the end, he did not dare to hide anything. After finding out the truth, Sun Mobai's expression turned cold. When his gaze fell on Zhu Yuyu in the crowd, he shivered involuntarily. He's really a traitorous disciple. Sun Mobai immediately flew into a rage and slapped Lin Dong without the slightest hesitation. His tyrannical palm ruthlessly slammed onto Lin Dong's face, causing the latter's face to immediately deform. A few of his teeth even fell out as he was ruthlessly slapped onto the ground. When Lin Yuming, who was at the side, saw this, he was dumbfounded. What was going on? Sun Mobai was an elder of the Immortal Divine Sect, so why would he be afraid of Yi Zan? Could Yi Zan's strength be that terrifying? However, he did not dare to voice any complaints, despite seeing Lin Dong being slapped. After all, Sun Mobai was his son's master. After doing all this, Sun Mobai hurriedly walked toward Zhu Yuyu and said with a face full of sincerity, "Young ladies, it's all because I failed to discipline him strictly that he dared to attempt such a heinous crime. I hope that you both can spare him this time for my sake. In the future, I will definitely discipline him strictly. Such a thing will definitely not happen again." Actually, Zhu Yuyu did not have any objections. After all, she did not want to cause too much trouble for her teacher. However, Feng Xian's mouth curved into a beautiful arc as she said with a playful smile, "Elder son, even though you are of great standing, trying to resolve this matter with just a few words is still rather inappropriate, is it not?" As soon as she finished speaking, Sun Mobai's face immediately darkened. However, when he recalled Yi Zan's terrifying strength, he could only suppress the anger in his heart. Although Sun Mobai could endure it, the other two elders of the Immortal Divine Sect could not. HMPH. A little kid who hasn't seen much of the world actually dares to haggle with us. Do you really think that the Immortal Divine Sect is afraid of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect? Do you really think that Yi Zan can protect you? HMPH. Even if Yi Zan was here today, he wouldn't dare to shout at me. Who do you think you are? As soon as he said this, the surrounding atmosphere suddenly turned oppressive. Interesting. Could it be that the Immortal Divine Sect is going to act against the Great Wilderness Divine Sect? Seeing this, everyone revealed a look of anticipation. I will say whatever I want to say. What's it to you? Seeing the other party's overbearing stance, Feng Xian could not hold it in, especially given the fact that the elder had disregarded her teacher. Feng Xian would never allow anyone to insult her teacher, who she considered her savior. You really don't know how vast the world is, little girl. Even the sect master of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Gongsun Shoyu, has to be polite to me, let alone a little girl like you. Feng Xian's gaze instantly turned cold when she heard this. Her spiritual sense suddenly entered the storage ring, preparing to shatter a communication talisman. As long as she did so, the general assigned to Qingyang City would immediately receive the news and come to her aid. This was actually Feng Xian's trump card. Any soldiers and generals that received the special signal from the communication talisman had to rush over without hesitation. Just as she was about to shatter the communication talisman, the situation changed again. You guys from the Immortal Divine Sect are quite arrogant. Who is it? Everyone's expression changed when they heard this. This voice seemed to come from dozens of miles away, and contained a trace of spiritual pressure in itself. The elder who had spoken earlier, Li Siwan, was shocked. He could tell that the spiritual pressure originated from a mystic Lord Realm expert. How is that possible? A mystic Lord Realm expert has appeared. On the tall building, Mu Baiken and the reincarnation fairy, as well as their entourage, were all shocked. Uncle Satu, is this person very strong? The reincarnation fairy whispered the question. Her guardian, Satu Mo, was shocked. He could clearly sense the spiritual pressure from the voice. That person is a mystic Lord Realm expert, Satu Mo said with a serious expression. His strength is extremely terrifying. The spiritual pressure I'm sensing is as sharp as a sword. As soon as he finished speaking, dazzling sword chi descended from the sky like a torrent toward Li Siwan. Senior brother. Sun Mobai's expression changed when he saw this. He quickly joined hands with Li Siwan and the other elder to resist the terrifying sword chi. Boom. The two powerful energies collided with each other, and the violent shockwaves rippled out in every direction. The hard ground cracked open, and many buildings were turned into dust. Sun Mobai and the others had used all of their strength to barely block the sword chi. 416. A useless teammate. Everyone looked up. In the sky, a man in white was approaching with a sword in his hand. It's teacher. Teacher is finally back. Feng Xian and Zhu Yueyu's faces were filled with excitement as they looked at the figure in the sky. Compared to their excitement, the crowd was feeling shock instead. One of the elders of the Immortal Divine Sect was a mystic Lord Realm expert. Even so, it had taken all three of them to block Yi Zan's sword chi. Is that Yi Zan? He's really young. The reincarnation fairy's eyes flickered with a strange light. She had never heard of Yi Zan before. Then, when the rumors started appearing, she had chalked it up to exaggeration. However, she had now witnessed his strength with her own eyes. Wasn't he supposed to be a Heaven Realm expert? When did he reach the Mystic Lord Realm? I'm not sure. Satu Mo shook his head and sighed deeply. I didn't expect the Great Wilderness Divine Sect to have another Mystic Lord Realm expert. It seems that their influence is going to become even stronger. Yi Zan's sword chi was extremely terrifying. Even I can't match his attainments in the sword Dao. The reincarnation fairy was surprised by this. Uncle Satu, that can't be right. He's only an early stage Mystic Lord Realm expert, while you're a middle stage Mystic Lord Realm expert. Sometimes, a person's cultivation level doesn't necessarily determine their true combat prowess. Yi Zan is a good example of this. I can sense extremely obscure traces of sword intent on him. In addition, Chief Tian Zan never spoke of his origin in detail back then. This guy most likely ascended from a lower realm. The obscure traces of sword intent are very likely to be from sword intent he comprehended in the lower realm that were erased by the realm passageway when he reconstructed his body. Hearing Satu Mo's words, the reincarnation fairy became even more curious. Everyone knew that anyone who could ascend from a lower plane was a peerless genius with outstanding talent. Of course, this was a double-edged sword. If these peerless geniuses did not awaken a divine bone, their cultivation talent would naturally be far inferior to the inhabitants of the mystic world. Mu Baiken and his two guardians were equally shocked by Yi Zan's sword chi. That unparalleled sense of oppression swept over everyone, making them unable to raise their heads. Those from Tian Zan's generation could not help but recall his invincible feats back then. It seemed that his successor was equally as domineering. Su Cheng was the first to react. He immediately ran over to flatter the man. After seeing Yi Zan appear, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. The situation just now was too scary. If Yi Zan had not appeared, he would not have known what to do. I'd like to see who dares to make a move on us now. Yi Zan suddenly felt that this was quite ridiculous. After he appeared, the one who was most excited was not Feng Xian or Zhu Yueyu, but this guy. If someone who did not know any better saw this, they might think that this guy was Yi Zan's disciple. Seeing this, Feng Xian could not help but cover her mouth and laugh. Zhu Yueyu, on the other hand, looked at Su Cheng with a face full of disdain. Then, she quickly knelt down and kowtowed to Yi Zan with a respectful look. Yueyu greets teacher. My precious disciple, hurry up and get up. Yi Zan smiled and nodded. A gentle force helped Zhu Yueyu up. Yi Zan's eyes glinted coldly as he looked at Sun Mobai and the others. He had only left for a short while, and someone had actually bullied his disciples. Furthermore, they had also made light of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. If I remember correctly, you were the one who said that even if the sect master of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect was here, he would have to be polite to you, right? Based on this sentence, should I assume that the Immortal Divine Sect is declaring war on the Great Wilderness Divine Sect? Hearing this, Sun Mobai's expression changed. He knew that things had taken a bad turn. When Li Siwan heard this, his face darkened. He was just acting cool in front of everyone just now. How was he supposed to know that Yizan would show up suddenly? How the FCK was he going to extricate himself from this situation? Gongsun Shoyu was the sect master of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, and a peak-level Mystic Lord Realm expert. Why would he need to be polite to him? Ahem, fellow Taoist Yizan, it was all a misunderstanding. Senior brother Li didn't mean it that way. It was just a slip of the tongue. I hope Chief Yizan won't take it to heart, Sun Mobai hurriedly said with an apologetic smile. In his heart, he was almost cursing all 18 generations of Li Siwan's ancestors. Originally, it was just a small matter that he could solve by himself. At most, he would compensate Feng Xian and Zhu Guiyu with some artifacts. Yet this brainless senior brother of his had suddenly intervened and involved the sect master of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect instead. What would happen if Gongsun Shoyu got wind of this? The sect master was a domineering person as well, the kind of person who would beat up whoever he did not like. If things were not dealt with properly, the Great Wilderness Divine Sect might really declare war on the Immortal Divine Sect. Hee, a slip of the tongue. Yizan's lips curled into a cold smile. I don't think so. If I hadn't appeared in time, my 2 precious disciples would have been killed by you lot. You 3 old fogies are really shameless. You're bullying the weak with your cultivation. You've completely thrown away the dignity of the Immortal Divine Sect. Sun Mobai felt ashamed and embarrassed. It really was not his fault. It was that brain-dead Li Siwan who had insisted on showing off. As Sun Mobai was thinking about how to calm Yizan's anger, Li Siwan's violent temper flared up again. So what if I wanted to bully your disciple? What can you do about it? As a Mystic Lord Realm expert, he was extremely proud, so he could not tolerate Yizan's words. 417 Absolute Power. Very good. It seems like you've made your decision. Hearing this, Yizan smiled, and a terrifying light flashed across the depths of his eyes. His disciples had already been bullied ruthlessly. As a teacher, if he still could not take revenge for them, he should just find a piece of tofu and smash himself to death. As soon as he finished speaking, Yizan's fingers turned into swords. The surroundings shook, and the world became darker. A terrifying sword aura shot up into the sky. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock, and their bodies started to tremble and creak. Mu Baiken, who had always been obsessed with the sword Dao, automatically stood up when he saw this. Unbelievable. Chief Yizan's sword intent has reached such a terrifying level. His sword intent is no weaker than Chief Tianzan's. Have you noticed? All the flowers and trees within a 100-mile radius are releasing a terrifying sword aura. It's like a sword domain. Within the domain, his sword chi is everywhere. These were the words of the guardian behind Mu Baiken. His eyes betrayed the shock he felt. It was rare for him to meet such an expert, and he almost could not restrain himself from approaching Yizan to ask for a spar. However, he quickly dispelled that thought. When the tyrannical sword intent appeared, Sun Mobai and the others immediately paled. The other 2 wanted to dig out Li Siwan's ancestral grave and burn their bones to ashes. Even if you want to screw your teammates over, could you not do it so overtly? However, at this moment, they had no way out and could only try their best to resist. Use the power of the formation to resist the sword chi. Sun Mobai and the other elders looked at each other and understood what needed to be done. Immediately, their spiritual power surged out and created a mysterious formation. Moments later, a dragon flew out of the formation and rushed toward Yizan's sword chi. A violent force swept through the world, and gusts of wind gradually picked up, forming a whirlwind. At the center of this, Yizan's expression was calm and indifferent. He had yet to use an artifact, nor the Flora sword technique. At this moment, 2 of his fingers formed a sword, and the sword chi that filled the sky suddenly condensed into a dazzling divine sword that cut through the sky toward the dragon. Today, I will slay a dragon, Yizan said. Don't even think about it. Break. Li Siwan roared madly as he mustered all of his spiritual power to block this sword strike. Heavens, that's what a true sword cultivator is like. Boom. The dazzling sword chi easily split the dragon in half and crashed into the 3-person formation. PFF'd. As cracks appeared on the formation, it shattered. Li Siwan and the others vomited blood, and their auras weakened considerably. Li Siwan looked up at Yizan in the sky. His heart was now filled with fear, and his previous arrogance was gone. They were both Mystic Lord Realm experts, but he was actually unable to block that sword strike, even with the power of the formation. Teacher. When he saw Sun Mobai crashing to the ground, Lin Dong immediately became anxious as he furiously glared at Yizan. Yizan, you actually injured my teacher. I'm going to beat you up. Lin Dong immediately retrieved the longsword from his storage ring and swung it at Yizan. However, when it was several millimeters away from Yizan's chest, the sword was unable to advance any further. Yizan expressionlessly looked at Lin Dong. With a wave of his sleeve, a powerful force ruthlessly struck Lin Dong's chest. What a joke. Did this kid not have a brain? Why did he attack a Mystic Lord Realm expert? Did he go blind, or lose his mind? How ignorant. On the tall building, Mu Baikon's lips curved into a mocking smile. You actually attacked my son. Seeing his precious son severely injured, Lin Yuming flew into a rage and rushed towards Yizan without hesitation. However, the outcome was the same. He too was beaten up. In the face of absolute power, any struggle or resistance was futile. PFF'd. Lin Yuming spit out a mouthful of blood as multiple bones in his body were broken. At that moment, Lin Yuming felt despair in his heart, but even more so, regret. How foolish. To think that a single mistake would actually bring about such a monstrous disaster to the Lin family. If the Lin family was to be destroyed, then he and Lin Dong would be the Lin family's sinners. Yizan looked at Lin Yuming indifferently, then reached out his hand to kill him. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly rang out in the sky. Junior brother Yizan, please show mercy. 418 Gao Shun appears. Yizan raised his eyebrows and looked up. A bright light flashed across the sky, and a middle-aged man in a gray robe appeared. Who is this person? He actually called Yizan his junior brother. Hearing this, everyone was curious. With his sharp eyes, Satomo immediately recognized the middle-aged man. Gao Shun, the law enforcement elder, why is he here? What? That middle-aged man is actually the law enforcement elder of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. The reincarnation fairy was also curious. Today was truly a special day. 2 Mystic Lord Realm experts from the Great Wilderness Divine Sect had appeared. It's indeed Gao Shun. Sure, he's strong, but he's got a chip on his shoulder. He'll seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Gao Shun. Seeing this, Yizan frowned. After some slight hesitation, he lowered his hand. Why was this guy here? Senior brother Gao, do you have some business with me? Yizan was a little dissatisfied. Even though he had never been on good terms with Gao Shun, they were both still cultivators of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, so in the outside world, he still had to put on a facade for the sake of the sect's reputation. Gao Shun crossed hundreds of meters in an instant and appeared beside Yizan and Lin Yuming. When he saw Gao Shun appear, Lin Yuming's eyes immediately revealed a look of wild joy. Chief Gao, please save me. When Gao Shun saw this, he looked at Lin Yuming with a face full of disgust. He wanted to curse this food. Was there a hole in this guy's brain? He had actually provoked Yizan. Yizan had never been on good terms with him. If this guy used this incident to make a fuss, he would be the one to suffer. Although Gao Shun was very unhappy, he could not ignore it. After all, the Lin family's business had brought him a lot of benefits over the years. Otherwise, the strength of Hidden Sword Peak would not have grown to the extent that it had. In addition, the 7 chiefs more or less had a close relationship with the major families in the East Continent, which was where they derived most of their basic cultivation resources and wealth. Of course, Cloud Sky Peak was an exception because there were not many people there. Junior brother Yi, Lin Yuming has been a good friend of mine for many years. Although I don't know how he angered you, I hope that you can spare his life for my sake, Gao Shun said with a sincere expression. He sighed deeply in his heart. Originally, Yizan was just a piece of trash in his eyes. However, it was only now that he realized that Yizan had unknowingly grown to the point where he could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. In particular, the battle between Yizan and Sun Mobai and the other elders of the Immortal Divine Sect earlier had shocked Gao Shun greatly. Yizan had actually broken through to the Mystic Lord realm. Yizan's talent was so monstrous. If this continued, would things not end up badly for him? How detestable. Could Hidden Sword Peak not escape the fate of being crushed by Cloud Sky Peak? He had thought that after Tian Zan passed away, Hidden Sword Peak would be able to suppress Cloud Sky Peak under his leadership. However, the strength that Yizan had displayed today was undoubtedly a harsh wake-up call. Hearing this, Yizan's eyes turned cold. I can take senior brother Gao's friendship with him into account, but isn't it a little inappropriate to solve this with just a few words? Do you think the disciples of my Cloud Sky Peak can be bullied by some nobody? When Gao Shun saw this situation, his expression became gloomy. He already knew that this would not be resolved so easily. Damn it, it seems like I won't be able to protect the Lin family if I don't pay a price. Was there a hole in Lin Yuming's brain? Why did he provoke this guy? Junior brother Yi's words are reasonable. After I figure out what transpired in this situation, I will definitely give you a proper explanation. Gao Shun gritted his teeth as he said this. Immediately, Gao Tong turned around and asked Lin Yuming to explain the situation. Yi Zan was not in a hurry either. He went over to Feng Xian and Zhu Yueyu's side. He was also rather curious as to what price Gao Shun would be willing to pay for the Lin family. Young Master Su, long time no see. Why are you trembling every time we meet? Cough, cough. Su Cheng had almost been scared to death when he realized that Yi Zan was looking at him. Senior, I'm just too excited to see you. You're my idol. Hearing this, Yi Zan smiled. Just now, Feng Xian had already told Yi Zan everything that had happened. Yi Zan was also surprised by Su Cheng and the Su family's actions. However, it was not difficult to understand that this guy was obviously trying to atone for his sins. Since this guy's performance was not bad, he would not fuss about what had happened before. I'm Su Tiansheng, the head of the Su family. Greetings, Chief Yi Zan. At this moment, Su Tiansheng walked over and respectfully bowed to Yi Zan. After witnessing Yi Zan's strength, his heart was filled with respect. Furthermore, this was an excellent opportunity to forge a good relationship with a powerful expert. Your Su family has done a good job. It's all thanks to Master Su's help that my two precious disciples were not injured. I will remember the Su family's kindness. Hearing this, Su Tiansheng was overjoyed. Yi Zan's words undoubtedly indicated that Cloud Sky Peak had accepted the Su family. No, Chief Yi Zan, this was something we did voluntarily. My family's little brat offended you previously. I hope that you'll be magnanimous and forgive his ignorant behavior. Yi Zan looked at Su Tiansheng with a smile. 419 The compensation. I heard that Su Cheng is a very filial kid. Tell me, is this true? Yi Zan looked at Su Tiansheng. Su Chenghei's heart almost beat out of his mouth when he heard those words. He was extremely nervous. Father, please don't ruin your precious son. I'm very filial. Ha ha ha. Thankfully Cheng has taken Chief Yi Zan's teachings to heart. He has indeed become much more sensible and filial. Su Tiansheng naturally understood what Yi Zan was implying and said with a smile. That's good. Yi Zan nodded in satisfaction. At this moment, the few figures on the tall building flew over. Mu Baiken from the Heavenly Mountain Divine Sect greets Chief Yi Zan. Reincarnation Fairy from the Jade Lake Divine Sect greets Chief Yi Zan. Shu Chengqing of Tianxia Academy greets Chief Yi Zan. Yi Zan was a little stunned by this. What were these people trying to do? What did they want from him? At this moment, Zhu Yueyu whispered, Teacher, Mu Baiken helped us when we were in trouble. Oh, hearing this, Yi Zan's eyes twitched slightly, and then he looked deeply at Mu Baiken. Moments later, Yi Zan's heart trembled. He was born with a Dao body. This guy actually has an innate Dao body. Yi Zan was surprised to see this. In the past 100 years, although his cultivation had not improved much, he had heard news about the young and peerless geniuses of the East Continent. Among them, Mu Baiken was especially prominent. He was even touted to have the potential to become a sealed immortal realm expert by the Heavenly Mountain Divine Sect. He then turned to look at the Reincarnation Fairy and Shu Chengqing. The latter's talent was a little lacking compared to the former. You must be the Mu family's saint, Mu Baiken. I've heard of your name before. Seeing you now, the rumors are indeed true. You're really young and have a promising future. Ha ha ha, Chief Yi Zan really knows how to joke. Compared to Chief Yi Zan's feats, what does my little achievement count for? Mu Baiken said humbly. The terrifying sword chi that Yi Zan had released just now had indeed amazed him. This was the domineering sword chi that he had been pursuing. Unfortunately, the Heavenly Mountain Divine Sect did not have such a terrifying sword technique. However, if he could make friends with Yi Zan, perhaps he might obtain an unexpected harvest. Chief Yi Zan's sword technique just now was really amazing. I've never seen such a terrifying sword chi. I'm very impressed. However, in the face of such praise, Yi Zan remained unperturbed. Your talent in cultivation is extremely outstanding, and you're also a genius in the art of the sword. As long as you stick to your original heart, your future is limitless, Yi Zan said with a smile. Hearing this, Mu Baiken briefly pondered this matter. It was a great honor to be praised by a mystic lord realm expert. Thank you for your praise, Chief Yizan. I'll definitely take your words to heart. Yizan displayed a satisfied expression when he heard Mu Baikan. This Mu Baikan was not only born with a Dao body, but he also had a good character. He was indeed a rare talent. Innate Dao bodies were even stronger than divine bones, and bestowed upon the cultivator monstrous talent. Unfortunately, such a talented person was not his disciple, and nor could he poach the saint of another sect so willfully. It was the same for the reincarnation fairy. Just then, Yizan's gaze fell on the guardians behind Mu Baikan and the reincarnation fairy. Seeing this, Satumo walked out with a smile. I'm Satumo, the law enforcement elder of the Jade Lake Divine Sect. I was really amazed by fellow Taoist Yizan's display of strength just now. So it's Elder Satu. Nice to meet you. Yizan nodded politely. Although he was powerful now, his ego had not swelled to the point where he believed himself to be invincible. Moreover, if he wanted to do well in the East Continent, it would be better to make more friends. Yizan and Satumo chatted for a while. Right at this time, Gao Shun also finished hearing Lin Yuming's explanation of the course of events, and walked over with an ugly expression. Were it not for the fact that the Lin family could still bring him many benefits in the future, he would have killed Lin Yuming right there and then. Still, no matter what, the problem in front of him had to be solved. Junior brother Yi, I've already gained a rough understanding of what happened. On behalf of the Lin family, I want to first apologize to the two martial nieces, Gao Shun said sincerely. Feng Xian and Zhu Guiyu hurriedly returned the greeting when they heard this. No matter what, Gao Shun was also a chief of the sect. They had to maintain their protocol and respect. How about this, junior brother Yi? I have the top-grade Earth rank magic artifact, the Flaming Red Caltrop, as well as the top-grade Earth rank artifact, Ice Snow Armor, as well as some top-grade medicinal pills. I'll give them to you as a token of apology. I hope you can spare the Lin family for my sake this one time. Gao Shun looked at Yizan with a face full of sincerity. This was already the greatest price he could pay. 420 sullen. He could only swallow his pride and apologize to Yizan. Of course, this was the biggest concession he could make. Seeing Gao Shun's sincere apology, Yizan inwardly laughed. He knew that this situation had pissed off Gao Shun greatly, which made him feel even better. It was good to see Gao Shun get a taste of what he had endured for 100 years. Since senior brother Gao has displayed such sincerity, I won't be unreasonable. In any case, we are members of the same sect. I will reluctantly accept these artifacts. Seeing Yizan finally agree, Gao Shun took a deep breath in relief. Although he would have plenty of time to recoup his losses later, the fact that he had to apologize so sincerely to Yizan made him feel like puking. After resolving this matter, Gao Shun was about to turn around and leave, but was interrupted by Yizan. Please wait a moment, senior brother Gao. Is there anything else junior brother Yi needs? Gao Shun's brows furrowed. He had already apologized and given away those artifacts. What more did Yizan want? Although the Lin family's matter has been resolved, the old guys from the Immortal Divine Sect are still. The Immortal Divine Sect. Gao Shun was somewhat puzzled. At this moment, Yizan's lips curled into a cold smile as he slowly walked up to Li Siwan. This old fogey just insulted the sect master. I wonder how senior brother plans to resolve this matter. What? When Gao Shun heard that, he immediately flew into a rage. Yizan, what do you want? Li Siwan's face was ashen. Taoist Li, the Great Wilderness Divine Sect has always been on good terms with the Immortal Divine Sect. Our sects have never interfered with each other. Why did you insult my sect master? Gao Shun immediately walked over somewhat angrily. When Sun Mobai saw this scene, he quickly climbed up with difficulty and explained with a smile. Taoist Gao Shun, it was my senior brother's unintentional mistake. Please forgive him. Our two sects have been on friendly terms for many years. We can't ruin our thousands of years of friendship because of a slip of the tongue. A slip of the tongue. Yizan smiled. He had already pointed out the matter now. Next, it was up to Gao Shun. After all, as the law enforcement elder of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Gao Shun would never allow anyone to insult the reputation of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. Senior brother Gao, I'll leave the rest to you. I still have some things to deal with, so I'll take my leave first. As soon as he finished speaking, Yizan turned and went over to his disciple's side. As for what Gao Shun's choice was, he could not be bothered to care. The worst result would be an official war between the two sects. With his current cultivation, he had nothing to fear. It was that old guy's fault for having so many screws loose in his brain. Of all people to insult, he had to insult Gongsun Shoyu. As the sect master of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect, Gongsun Shoyu's reputation was equivalent to the reputation of the Great Wilderness Divine Sect. In addition, Li Siwan was merely an elder of the Immortal Divine Sect. If even an elder dared to insult their sect master, did this not mean that the entire sect held the Great Wilderness Divine Sect in utter disregard? Don't take me for a fool. Do you really think that this was just a slip of the tongue? Gao Shun disregarded Sun Mobai entirely. The terrifying pressure of a mystic Lord Realm expert instantly descended. When everyone saw this scene, their pupils suddenly shrank. They did not expect Gao Shun to be as strong as Yi Zan. At the same time, everyone remembered that, in ancient times, the Great Wilderness Divine Sect had dominated the continent. Were it not for certain reasons, their strength would not have fallen to where it was this day. Taoist Gao, this is just a small misunderstanding. We really didn't mean to insult Sect Master Gongsun. Sun Mobai felt so wrong that he wanted to cry. Just now, Yi Zan had suppressed them, and now Gao Shun was doing the same. Furthermore, they had all suffered injuries of varying degrees from Yi Zan's sword strike earlier, so they were unable to resist Gao Shun now. Do you really think I don't have the ability to distinguish between what's real and what's fake? My Great Wilderness Divine Sect has never had the intention to fight for power, but we are definitely not afraid of your sect. If the Immortal Divine Sect wants to start a war, the Great Wilderness Divine Sect will welcome it with open arms, Gao Shun said very domineeringly. He had been holding back his anger earlier, so this was an excellent chance to vent. Sun Mobai was distraught. However, he also knew that he would not be able to clarify or deal with this matter by himself. From the looks of it, he could only return and report this to the sect. Only then would this matter be resolved. HMPH. Gao Shun looked at Sun Mobai and the rest with cold eyes, and then turned and left. Today, Gao Shun's mood was not very good. He originally wanted to come to Qingyang City to obtain resources and benefits. Unfortunately, he had to give someone else his treasures and artifacts instead. Furthermore, that someone was Yi Zan. It seems like the show is over. Let's disperse. After Gao Shun left, everyone also left in droves, including Mu Baiken and the Reincarnation Fairy. The latter two said goodbye to Yi Zan before leaving. Soon, only Yi Zan, the Su family, the Lin family, and the three elders of the Immortal Divine Sect were left on the street.